GoPro footage has emerged showcasing Ukraine's 3rd Assault Brigade in action, counterattacking against Russian forces in Kharkiv Oblast. Several months ago, Russian troops initiated an offensive aimed at pushing their lines closer to Kharkiv, attempting to bring the city within range of their artillery. The advance has been slow and costly for the Russians, with significant losses in both personnel and equipment. Recently, Ukrainian forces capitalized on the chaos created by their surprise counteroffensive, driving the Russian troops back. The footage reveals Ukrainian soldiers dismounting from their APCs under fire and advancing into a wooded area. In related developments, dashcam footage from a Ukrainian light armored combat vehicle depicts a fierce combined arms assault in Kursk. Ukrainian infantry and vehicles are shown coordinating in bounding advances and suppressing Russian positions. Despite a direct hit from a Russian Lancet bomb drone on a Ukrainian tank, the vehicle remains operational. In the Kharkivka sector, Russian forces attempted another assault, but were met with a devastating response from Ukrainian defenders. Soldiers of the 79th Air Assault Brigade, supported by precise artillery fire, attack drones, and anti-tank teams, successfully halted the Russian advance, destroying multiple tanks and infantry fighting vehicles in the process. Adding to the mounting setbacks for Russian forces, a Ukrainian drone operator in the Kursk region reportedly neutralized 3 Russian soldiers hiding in a cornfield. According to Doco Defense, a video posted online shows a drone delivering a payload of over 500 metal balls, causing significant casualties. The footage highlights the increasing effectiveness of Ukrainian drone operations in disrupting Russian troop movements and inflicting heavy losses. Over the past 24 hours, the Ukrainian battlefield has witnessed 183 combat engagements, with the most intense clashes occurring along the Pokrovsk axis. Russian forces also mounted significant operations in the Kupiansk, Lyman, and Kurykov directions, according to the General Staff of Ukraine's Armed Forces. The General Staff reported that Russian invaders launched 3 strikes, including 5 missile attacks and 75 airstrikes, dropping a total of 98 glide bombs on Ukrainian positions and populated areas. In addition, nearly 4,000 artillery strikes were reported, including 140 involving rocket salvo systems. Despite the ferocity of the assaults, Ukrainian forces continue to inflict heavy losses on Russian manpower and equipment, with reports indicating that Russia lost 1,360 soldiers, 8 tanks, and 42 artillery systems in the past day alone. In a development that has taken both Russian and Ukrainian forces by surprise, Ukrainian Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky executed a bold plan to attack Russia's Kursk Oblast. The Wall Street Journal reported that Syrsky's plan to enter Russian territory was met with shock by Ukrainian soldiers, as this marked the first such move since World War II. Lieutenant Colonel Artem Kolodkevich, Chief of Staff of the 61st Mechanized Brigade, expressed his initial surprise at the audacity of the plan. Ukrainian forces quickly overcame weak border defenses and captured control of approximately 100 towns and villages in Kursk Oblast. Since the onset of the Ukrainian incursion into Kursk Oblast, Ukraine's 80th Brigade paratroopers have successfully captured 7 Russian tanks. The haul includes advanced models such as the T-90M, 4 T-80BVMs, and 2 T-72s. One paratrooper, Bowden, expressed his long-held ambition of capturing a Russian tank, a dream realized in the early days of the fighting in Kursk. Tank Officer Dmitro from the 80th Air Assault Brigade highlighted the significance of these captured tanks, stating they would substantially reinforce Ukrainian armored forces in future battles against Russia. Ukraine's ground forces reported that Russian forces are devastating the town of Sudzha in Russia's Kursk Oblast, which is currently under Ukrainian control. The once thriving town now has a population of only about 200 civilians, down from 5,000. The remaining civilians, mostly elderly, are receiving humanitarian aid from Ukrainian forces in accordance with international law. Czech Foreign Minister Jan Lipavsky issued a stern warning regarding Russia's military ambitions, asserting that Russia's goals extend beyond the seizure of Ukraine. Lipavsky criticized European voices advocating for concessions to Russia, stating that such appeasement threatens the security and stability of Europe. Lipavsky emphasized that Russia is waging war not just against Ukraine, but against the West as a whole. He called for a firm and resolute response, noting that Russian aggression has no limits unless we set them. He urged Europe to defend its values with courage and action. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has appealed to the US, the UK, France, and Germany for permission to deploy Western-supplied long-range weapons to target military sites in Russia. Zelensky also requested additional long-range munitions and missiles, along with more air defense systems, particularly ahead of the upcoming school year. Zelensky stated, emphasizing the urgency of bolstering Ukraine's defenses. Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans has announced that the Netherlands will supply Ukraine with 28 Viking bandwagon S-10 fully amphibious all-terrain tracked armored vehicles. Brekelmans underscored the importance of continued support for Ukraine in its fight against Russian aggression, noting that the Dutch Marine Corps has trained Ukrainian forces in the operation of these vehicles. The Viking bandwagon S-10, an armored amphibious vehicle, is capable of traversing water at pedestrian speeds and is intended to enhance Ukraine's mobility in challenging terrain. While Brekelmans did not specify whether the first batch of vehicles had arrived in Ukraine, he reaffirmed the Netherlands' commitment to aiding Ukraine's defense efforts.